Hi, and welcome to today's version of PraxHacks. Welcome back. I'm glad to have you here on my channel. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe and pass these links on to your friends. We're trying to get as many people as we can to pass these high stakes tests. Today, we're focusing on praxis tests for teachers. And what we'll be talking about today is test versions. How many versions of these tests are there? And dispel maybe some myths that go along with these tests. So, as we get started today, I want to thank my sponsor, which is Upside. If you use the promo code there, UWVQ4, you will get an extra 15 cents off on your first gallon. I mean, not off, but back. It is real cash money that you get back. You can use your whatever rewards cards you have and use Upsides for even more money back. Again, as we're becoming teachers, you need all the money you can get. So again, download the app for apps Upside. I'll leave a link down in the description below. Use that code and get 15 cents per gallon back on your first fill up. So as I have coached and worked with people pass the praxis test and other high stakes tests, they'll talk to me about what version of the test they got. So these tests are not really just one version. I think people think of the old paper pencil test where there might be different printed versions, but because these are now computer-based, they are really different. There's almost no such thing as versions of the test. Let me explain what I mean. So with the praxis and again, other computer-based tests, they're called adaptive testing. Adaptive testing has been around probably for 20 years, as long as they've started putting these tests on computers, they've become adaptive testing. And you might be asking yourself, okay, what is adaptive testing? Adaptive testing means that if you're taking this test and you start missing several questions in a row, or let's say you're missing 6 out of 10 of the last 10 questions, the adaptive testing in the program is going to then give you easier questions. And you might think, well, that sounds like a good idea, but easier questions is going to get you fewer points and lead to a lower score. So, I mean, most of the time you can say, I don't really want the harder questions, but for adaptive testing, you do want the harder questions. So when you say, boy, I had a really hard version of the test, that's probably a good thing because it probably was adapting to your knowledge and probably giving you more points. So you get correct answers. You get harder questions because it's adapting to what the test thinks you know. Good side, that's kind of I just said, it's going to give you more points per question. So think of it this way. Think of it, if it's a really easy question, it may be only worth 1 point. But if it's a harder question, it might be worth 3 to 5 points. This is why when you ask these testing companies what each question is worth, they're really not very straightforward at telling you because different questions are weighted differently. So I've also worked with people who talk about, well, I know I had this question before. Or, I remember this question because it's so weird. Could be. What these test companies have is called a test bank. And that means they've got just thousands of questions on a particular topic stored in this computer bank somewhere, not a physical bank, but a computer bank. And as you're testing, it'll pull questions for the correct level for you. Again, being that adaptive testing. Now, if you didn't really prepare hard, let's say for the second time around, you probably are going to fall into that same category of questions. And then you're probably increasing your odds that you're going to get the same question again. So let's think of it this way. We got a question number 3, some random question, and you get it right. The test is going to adapt and give you a harder question, but it's going to earn you more points if you get that next question right. But question 3, let's say you get it wrong, then it's kind of a double whammy because you're not going to get any points for that wrong answer. And it's going to keep you at that same level or give you even easier questions that are worth less points. This is why it's so important to really study and prepare for these tests. You really have to know the material. You need to look at samples, all the samples you can possibly find. You need to study. I can't say it enough. You need to study. And you need to reduce anxiety as much as possible. If test anxiety is an issue for you, you may want to watch some of our other videos about reducing test anxiety and some options that you have. And last but not least, you want to practice this test, practice the practice questions. And I'm going to say not until you've got the questions memorized, because that's really not going to do you much good, but practice to know the concepts. One way that we would love to help you practice is for you to pick up one of our books. Today we're featuring the Praxis Core Writing for the 5723 Writing Study Guide. This is available on Amazon. We do have more books coming. Currently, we also have reading available, but check back with us, check on Amazon, and we will be glad to help you pass these tests. I want to thank everyone for watching. Look for our other videos on test taking tips, and we want to help you pass your tests.